The rain had been falling for 3 days without pause, turning the narrow streets into mirrors of gray sky. People moved quickly, heads down, chasing warmth and routine. Among them walked a man named Aaron, though few noticed him anymore. There was a time when Aaron carried a different presence. His steps used to be steady, his shoulders back, his eyes alive with direction. He once believed life had a clear path, that effort would always lead somewhere meaningful. But that belief had slowly eroded, not in one moment but in many small ones. A missed opportunity, a failure that lingered longer than expected, a season where nothing seemed to grow, no matter how much he tried. Each disappointment had been like a quiet weight, settling onto him without announcement. Over time, those weights stacked so high that even simple things felt heavy. Getting up in the morning became a negotiation. Hope turned into something distant, almost fictional. That morning, Aaron had no plan. He walked simply to move, to avoid the silence of his small apartment where thoughts echoed too loudly. The rain soaked through his jacket, but he barely noticed. His mind was somewhere far behind him, replaying every moment that didn't go as it should have. At the edge of the city, the pavement gave way to a narrow path leading toward a hill. It wasn't a remarkable place. No grand view, no famous landmark, just a quiet rise above the noise. Aaron had been there once long ago, on a day when life felt lighter. Without thinking much about it, he followed the path. The climb was slow. The ground was slippery and his legs protested the effort. Halfway up, the thought crossed his mind to turn back. It would be easier, warmer, more familiar. But something subtle pushed him forward, not a burst of motivation, not a sudden clarity, just a quiet refusal to stop. Step by step, he continued. By the time he reached the top, the rain had softened into a mist. The city stretched below him, blurred and distant. For a moment, nothing changed inside him. No dramatic realization. No instant relief. Just the same tired mind, the same heavy feeling. But then something small happened. A break in the clouds allowed a thin line of sunlight to pass through. It wasn't bright enough to transform the sky, not strong enough to dry the ground. It was almost insignificant, yet it touched the wet streets below, creating a faint glow where there had only been gray. Aaron stood still, watching it. The light didn't erase the rain. It didn't change the past 3 days. It didn't promise anything about tomorrow. It simply existed alongside the storm. And somehow that mattered. For the first time in a long while, Aaron noticed something he had been missing. Not success, not answers, just possibility. The idea that things didn't have to be perfect to begin changing. That even in the middle of something heavy and unresolved, there could be a shift so small it almost went unnoticed. He realized that he had been waiting for everything to feel right before moving forward again. Waiting for certainty, waiting for confidence, waiting for the weight to disappear. But the light in front of him wasn't waiting for the rain to stop. It was there anyway. Aaron took a breath, deeper than the ones before. The air felt different, not because it had changed, but because he had. The climb hadn't fixed his life. The view hadn't solved his problems, yet something inside him had quietly realigned. He didn't need to have it all figured out. He only needed to take the next step. As he began walking down the hill, nothing around him looked dramatically different. The path was still wet. The sky still carried clouds. The city still waited with all its noise and challenges, but his steps were no longer aimless. They had direction again. Not because the road was clear, but because he had decided to move anyway. And somewhere behind the clouds, the light continued to exist, whether seen or not.